Hey everyone, welcome back. It is Vortie here, and I'm actually pretty happy for numerous reasons. One being that I'm actually back at home so that I can record properly in my little area here. So the good news is, well, it's good and bad. The good news is we've actually, those who are following, we sold our house, so we'll be having to move out in about 40 days or so, and then have to wait for the new one to be built. But anyways, that's not why you're here. You're here because of the new things that are coming out. I did have a video come out regarding the Gilgamesh chat. We just kind of chatted about it. He is out today, so later on today you should be seeing a Gilgamesh fight video. And then depending on my experience and how I beat it, then I will kind of make a guide based off of that, because then I can reference back to the video rather than just making a guide and saying, hey, try this, without actually doing it myself. So with the previous video, I sort of chatted a little bit about what I think is going to happen based on like how I did it on the Japanese version, and doing a little bit of research. So I kind of have a good idea, and I think you guys have a good idea as well. So, but before we go to that, or we might finish with that, and what I wanted to talk about today is kind of how you got to the video, is we're actually going to talk about the featured summons, which is the Gilgamesh Vanquishers. So there's a lot of debate, people saying some of these guys didn't fight Gilgamesh, whatever. The way it is, in the end, at one point in their story, these guys rubbed elbows with Gilgamesh, one way or another, but most of these guys have the elements required to help you beat Gilgamesh, technically. That's the way I see it, right? So I mean, some of these guys have non-elemental things, but some of them have elemental moves, right? So like as of right now, I think Agrias is the only one who doesn't have any elemental moves. I think, yeah, Agrias doesn't. Yeah, I'm actually almost 100% sure that Agrias doesn't, because the way I know it is Bart has wind, Snow has water, Ramza has light, Xdeath has earth. I think he also has fire as well. But anyways, we'll go over all the units real quick. We'll just chat about them, and I'll tell you my personal opinion about this banner. So all of these characters here are definitely awesome characters. Ramza and Agrias do get more enhancements later. I think Agrias gets a 6-star plus some enhancements later, making her quite strong. Ramza also gets future boosts, which make him a beast. Alright, so let's jump into the first character here, which is Ramza. The thing that we can say off of Ramza right off the bat is his TM. His TM is top tier right now for damage dealers. It is the best, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinion actually, it's the best armor you can possibly get for a physical damage dealer. Okay, so I wanted to bring that light right away, right off the bat. So he's from Final Fantasy Tactics. He is, job is Squire, but I would probably even call him a bard. Should have just been job bard, because his job is to sing. Technically, he's a singer, and he buffs your party. And what I mentioned earlier about his enhancements end up taking his, which I think is like 40% buff in magic and attack or whatever, later on to getting a buff where he does 100% to the whole party, which is actually pretty insane. So getting that is actually really good. When he does get his enhancements, he's going to be the best buffer for quite a while, till they start getting some of the other FFBE characters, like in the Japanese version, where they end up rivaling him. They don't become better than him, they actually end up rivaling him, because technically 100% is going to be top tier for a while. They'll start adding other buffs. Overall, he's just a support unit, right? A buffer. So it says here, a balanced unit that is able to greatly reduce its opponent's attack and magic, and boosting its allies' parameters. It is also able to acquire Ultima and Holy Blade. That's right. He also have Ultima, which is one of the strongest hitting moves that we have, next to Alterna. And then he also has Holy Blade, which is just a super badass looking move. I absolutely love it. There's other characters that also have Holy Blade. I think Prim has it, and it's absolutely bonkers good. I mean, it looks good. It looks really good. But yeah, so overall, he's, like I said, he debuffs the monsters, he buffs your party. He's a support unit, and he's a very good support unit. He's gonna be the big wig, the big chicken, the plump turkey of this banner. He comes in at a 5-star, goes to a 6-star. I will probably be pulling for him because I don't have him. I wasn't around when this banner was out, so I'm hoping to have a shot at getting Ramza. And if you do like Final Fantasy Tactics, or you're looking for something to have a strong TM, Ramza is definitely a good catch for that. Plus, in the end, it's not just a TM unit, you also want to be able to use Ramza. So you get the benefit from using Ramza, plus you get the benefit of his TM. So overall, very good unit. I would really love to have him. His stats are right up there. For a support unit, he's got a healthy amount of life. damage, defense, everything is like on par, being like above what I would call like mediocre for a unit. Like he's right up there. He's got a good decent amount of everything. Very, very well balanced. Next is Snow. Snow is considered to be a tank, okay? And he's kind of an interesting type of tank. He's like a counter tank where he wants to get people to attack him and then he counters them. And he's interestingly unique about that, where he ends up countering like 4 or 5 or 6 times and have like when he gets attacked. So it's a very high chance for him to counter. Based on his stats, it's not a high chance to counter. I think it's like 60% he gets a chance to counter. I think it's called like that. I think he has like counter, then he's got a move called trying to remember here, Fighting Spirit, which I think increases it by another 30%. So yeah, I think it's like 60% counter chance that he would get to be able to help you out. So he's actually really, really cool. Pairing him up with something like a Mirage Vest, which is like an armor that gives you dodge, he counters the attack whether he gets hit or not. It's not his, he doesn't care whether he gets a, like, if the move lands, he will counter attack it. So it's actually really, really cool. What he also has is he's got the capabilities for water damage and ice damage. That's what he does. That's why he's really good for the Gilgamesh fight as well, as he gets water capabilities. He also naturally in his kit gets something called, I think it's called Draw Attack, or like a Provoke, where he has a chance of being targeted by 50% naturally in his kit, making him a tank, right? So he's a good unit. If you don't have somebody like Cecil or like another tank like Charlotte, he could help you out. You know, he's not the best out there for tanking, but he can definitely help you out, you know, beat those events. He's actually really good for certain events like the Attack of the Antolian, Antola, whatever the one with a bunch of things. He was actually a pretty good tank for that. I used him for that. Same thing with a double-headed dragon, because you want to be doing physical damage on the double-headed dragon. Again, another fantastic place to be able to use him and abuse his capabilities of countering and doing extra damage. So you put like Dragon Killer on him and way to go. Alright, an amazing amount of life. He's got good damage, good defense, good MP, Spirit and Magic. Like, Magic is lacking, but that's not his thing. Spirit's lacking a little bit for a tank, which means he's going to take a little bit more extra damage, but what are you going to do? Also, it doesn't show here, but his selection of gear is a little bit, you know, it's so-so. I think he can only wear, like, daggers, throwing weapons, claws, and I think maces, I think. I don't know about the maces, but definitely daggers, throwing weapons, and knuckles. He can also wear what do you call it, shields, which is really cool for a monk. He wears hats and cloths, and I think accessories. That's it. Yeah, that's it. That's why I remember. He's a little bit harder to gear because of his selection of gear, but he can still wear the Mirage Vest, which is really, I think, an item designed for a unit like this. Overall, Snow is ISIL, which is from Final Fantasy, like Lightning Returns and all those guys, like Final Fantasy 10-2 or whatever. Or 11? No, 12. Final Fantasy 12. Anyway, so he comes in at 4-star, which is actually pretty good. He goes up to a 6-star, so, you know, he's going to be able to not compete with Cecil, but he's up there. He can definitely hold his end. His TM, again, is very, very good. Attack 30, defense 30, boost attack and defense when equipped with fists. This is amazing for a lot of the other units, like monks, like especially somebody like Yon. But overall, this gives you 30 attack, which some other items you would get from like Gafgarian, like the bracers, where they give you like life, but this will give you defense. So this champion's belt accessory is actually very, very good. I'm actually farming this right now because I want it, because it's that good. So if you put fists on a character plus the belt, he will get that boost. So monks will take advantage of this, but there's other characters like Gilgamesh and future characters like Prish that will be able to also use this and benefit from it all, like a huge amount. So if you do get him, don't get sad. He's a good tank. He covers water for the Gilgamesh trials. He's a counter style tank. He's got a good TM. Overall, good unit. Nothing bad to say about him. He'll definitely be able to help you out. Says here, this unit has the unique ability to counter magic based damage with his ability Fighting Spirit, and is an all-around tank with strong defense and high hit points. So he can counter normal attacks and counter magic. I forgot to say he can also counter magic, which is actually really good. Oh man, yeah. So counters attacks, counters magic. Next is X-Death. In my personal opinion, the best mage. I know that we have Emperor and we have Dark Fina out there who have these hard-hitting abilities, and they're like 6 stars. But as you guys probably noticed, here on my channel, I normally cater to like the medium level, like medium to bottom level, like to new players, rather than saying like for whales and stuff. If you have Emperor and Dark Fina and you gear them, then yeah, man, they're probably gonna be a lot better for you. But for majority of people, if you get X Death, you got yourself a solid mage, one that competes with Emperor and Dark Fina. Right now, there's like, I don't know, people are saying that Emperor is pretty good because you can spam his magic or whatever, and it gets, because it costs a lot less than Dark Fina's, I believe it's Distress or whatever, because I don't have these units, so I can't remember the magic, I don't use them. So pardon me if I don't get the names correct, but Dark Fina and Emperor both have abilities where the more they cast the ability, the more damage that ability does. Whereas Dark Fina's move costs a lot, Emperor's doesn't cost as much, giving you the capability of actually hitting that potential without having to have a unit like Ling or somebody to like keep buffing their MP so they hit really hard. So there's a, like, I don't know, I think people are thinking, yeah, you know, either or are really good, like they're in the top spot. I think X Death is right up there with them. Yeah, he doesn't have an ability like that, but his ability, or his what do you call it? His acquire rate, like how easy it is to get him, makes him very viable for everyone, and therefore a best mage in my opinion, right? Because majority of people are gonna have X Death, like the small percentage are gonna have Dark Fina and Emperor. So if you have X Death and if you need X Death and you're looking for a really good mage, this is the character you really want. His hit points for a mage is really good. Spirit is attack, obviously defense is squish. He's a mage. He's got a very healthy amount of MP for a mage, and his magic starts at a solid average base, which is like about 188. Like 150 is pretty good. 150 plus is like what you should be expecting from a decent mage. So 188, he's doing pretty good. Overall, spot on character. He comes in at 3-star, so if you're pulling on this banner, you're gonna get a bunch of him. He goes up to 6-star and learns a bunch of cool abilities like dual cast and meteor and stuff. So it is right on there. I have him, I use him, and I'm happy with him. That's why I didn't pull hard on Emperor. That's why I didn't pull hard on Dark Fina, because honestly, there's no reason. They don't really outclass him that much in my personal opinion. Obviously, they got unique abilities that make them 5-star units, and they hit a little bit harder or a lot harder, but in this case, how easy it is to acquire X Death. I'd rather have 2 X Deaths on my team. So his TM is not very good. I would probably just avoid it. If you get a bunch of X Deaths and you get it, then fantastic. But Holy it's just an iconic move, iconic Final Fantasy, what do you call it, light spell. If you like it, you can get it, but I wouldn't farm it. Don't put it in a TM farming group. It's not worth it. It says, this powerful Dark Mage is able to cause massive destruction with his innate dual cast ability. In addition, he gains a powerful killer passive that allows him to deal more magic damage to multiple races. He is the only mage that I know as of right now that has killer effects that take effect on magic. So killer effects as of right now, like materia and those, are only done on abilities or physical attacks. X Death has the ability to actually deal those killer effects like Man-Eater and stuff like that he holds in his person, like in his own kit. He will actually do that bonus damage to them. So he's the only one that I know of right now. I don't know if in the future that changes and somebody else gets it, but he gets it. Again, making him one of the top mages in my opinion. Alright, Bart. Just like I mentioned with Ramza's TM, I think Double Hand, like we'll start off with the TM off of this unit because I think it's important. Double Hand is kind of like dual wield. And in the sense as dual wield lets you wear 2 weapons, you do more damage. Double Hand lets you wear 1 weapon, but boosts its damage by 50%. So in the Japanese version, this actually stacks, but in the global version, this doesn't stack. So it doesn't mean that this is not important. It's still a very good TM, and in my opinion is you should still farm this TM as it is very important, especially if you have somebody like Olive. But the way the Japanese meta is changing is, I think Gumi and Alami or whatever the Japanese style provider, whatever, they're kind of trying to switch the meta a little bit. So if you farm this now and you're using it now, you're going to be ahead of the game later on, because this is going to probably become a lot more competitive with dual wield later on in the game. Right now, for units like Olive who have dual wield, or not dual wield, double hand in their kit, plus on like other items that they can wear, double hand is actually very beneficial. As you can see, we already have Olive who's breaking the 1000 damage mark. If you can farm this TM, I would definitely farm it. As far as the unit goes, Bart is an adventurer. He has a very good amount of hit points. He's got the average damage. Defense is pretty decent. MP is decent. Magic and Spirit is so-so. He, in my opinion, is categorized as a support damage dealer. I know people out there will class him as a physical damage dealer. Then that's that. No, he's like, to my opinion, he's a support. And the reason he's a support is because of his kit. Very rarely would somebody use him to deal damage, especially now since like moves like Barrage are no longer like the core mechanics of the game. It doesn't dish out enough damage in proportion to some of the other abilities and other damage dealers. He learns that in his kit, but what he is, I think, would be the best thing is he's got this move called Life Giver, or Life Giver, that's what it's called, I think. What he does is he kills himself and he will give 100% hit points and MP to like another unit. So he's like a battery. He is a mana and hit points battery. Because what you can do is you can use Life Giver, fully heal a unit, give it all its MP back, he dies, and then in that same turn you get a unit like your healer to raise him. And he stays like that forever, which is fantastic. Also, in this case, he gets the wind element so that he can cover that for Gilgamesh. I think it's called Gale Barrage, I think he's got. And I think something like Wind Shear. Yeah, I think it's Wind Shear. So he's got Gale Barrage, which is like a wind version of Barrage, where he does wind damage as well. And then he's got like a hybrid move called like Wind Shear, which is also again wind damage. But yeah, overall he's a very good unit for like supporting your party. If you don't have any strong damage dealers, he could fulfill that role, but he's not gonna be breaking the game for you. He could hit pretty hard if you gear him right, but overall his capabilities for damage dealing is going to be exceeded pretty quickly by other damage dealers that you get in your party, right? Especially if you get a 5-star DPS, it's gone. The only other thing I like about him that I recall now is he's got a good selection of gear and a good selection of weapons, so gearing him is not a problem. So if you do pull him, you should be pretty happy, as he is a pretty solid unit. Okay, it says here under him, a brave adventurer can defeat his enemies with a chain of powerful wind attacks, and also has the ability to restore an ally to full hit points and MP. And that is the move they're talking about. He can restore their hit points and MP, but he kills himself, so you're gonna have to raise him. Alright, we're gonna jump to this is the last character. Yeah, to the last character here, which is Agrias. Agrias is an interesting cat. Her TM is actually one of the better TMs out there. No elemental damage defined to it, which means that you can use it for every trial if you really wanted to, but other items out there exist right now, like Excalibur, which people will probably prioritize. Same, I think, yeah, Dark Knight Cecil's weapon as well, and whatever. Those can be prioritized with it because they're technically a little bit better, but they do have elemental damage on them, so if you don't want elemental, you can get her thing as well and at least have one. I'm in the process of having at least one, and we'll leave it at that. As of right now, her stats are not very pleasing. Weak amount of hit points, damage, defense, everything is just bleh. It's very, very weak. When Agrias gets her buff like she did in Japanese version, she becomes one of the top tier units. If you do have Agrias, hold on to her because she's going to be an unstoppable unit later on. She ends up doing some insane amount of damage. She gets really, really good buffs. So right now she comes at a 4-star, goes to a 5-star. She's the only unit here that doesn't get the 6-star. But again, her future looks very, very bright. And she has that capability of actually standing out really, really well. She's got one move that I absolutely love. She also has I think it's called Holy Blade. No, she doesn't have Holy Blade. It's called Cleansing Strike. That's the one where she attacks 3 times, like on one target, and it's like a multiplier of 3 or whatever. And she has a chance to inflict confuse, and it's actually a pretty strong move. And she also, at max level or almost max level, learns a move called Full Break, which is a full break move. So she's like a break unit. If you don't have a break unit, she's pretty good for that as well. Because she has some AoE abilities that she learns as well, and she can heal a little bit because she is a knight, or holy knight as they call her. So like, it's not that bad. She's not a bad unit. Her selection of gear is pretty good. She gets all the good weapons and all the armor, like heavy armor and light armor, I think she can wear. And overall, she's a pretty good unit. When she gets her buff, she's gonna get some crazy stuff. On this banner, she's technically probably marketed as the boo boo character, or like the not so good cat, like the weak potato here. But like, in grand scheme, this banner is very, very good. All right, let's finish this off and we'll look at. So she's got Save the Queen, 112 attack. It's good auto protect as well. This unit is able to unleash a very strong AoE attack that can also stop the enemies for 3 turns. She can also acquire the skill Full Break to reduce her enemy stats. So that's pretty cool. What they're referring to is stop for 3 turns. It's very strong AoE attack. Like, I don't like this. This is worded extremely wrong. Her special ability, her limit burst, is this attack that they're talking about. She doesn't learn any moves that does this. Like, it's not a move you have. Her limit burst is actually an AoE attack that will do... Stop. It's called like Stasis Sword or something like that. She's got like a 40 or 50% chance to be able to stop all the units for 3 turns, which is what they're talking about here. So anyways, it is actually really good. I do like her limit burst. So overall, should you summon on this banner? I think so. If you're a new player and you don't have these guys, I definitely think you should summon it. All of these characters have a position in the game that you would probably have to at least fill. So everybody except Argus goes to 6-star. She will go to 6-star soon whenever she gets her enhancement. So you guys are not gonna lose out on summoning on this banner. You got one of the best mages, you got one of the top tanks, you got in my opinion, one of the best supports being Bartz, because he can give you that mana pool for long fights. You got Ramza, who is right now got one of the best, actually got the best TM for DPS or damage dealers for their body. Plus later on with his enhancements, he gets to be able to buff units by 100%. And currently he's still a buff, he can still support your units. He gets 40% buff, I think, to everything. So you were not going to lose on that anyways. You're pulling on this banner, getting any of these units, you're definitely going to be happy because they are all good. Yeah, so I mean, like, I don't know what else I can say about them. I'm going for Ramza, so I will try to maybe at least pull a little bit to try and get him. I don't want to waste everything I got because I do believe that the next banner is going to be Orlando or something good and worthwhile. But if you need these guys, it's time to pull, and I'm very happy about this banner. Like, this is not the People's Choice banner, for if you guys know, but this banner is actually really good. There isn't any units here that you can say they're not good. All of these units have an area to fill, and like I said, if I had to rank them, I would say for rank wise, Ramza is probably the best, followed by X-Death, followed by Bartz and Snow, and then the last one would probably be Agrius. That would be my personal ranking, and based on what I've said earlier in the video and what position they fill, where they sit, right? Alright, cool. Anyways, this is my first video back into my own place and recording, so if the sounds or anything are a little bit off, I do apologize. Please forgive me. Just give me a little bit of time, like probably by the end of the day today, you know, a few videos getting in there, getting everything back to where it's supposed to be, and everything should be good then. So after this, some hours after this, you should hopefully see the Gilgamesh trial, and hopefully I win, and hopefully you guys are also having better luck. So stay tuned. In the next few days, you're gonna be I will be doing a update video on how I'm doing on the event and where I sit with my points. And then probably later in the end of the week, we'll be doing the buying the items for the first week. So stick around for that. I will see you guys during that video. If you're new to the channel, hit that like button and subscribe button. If you are not new, still hit that like button. You can hit it, you can scratch it, you can poke it, you can do whatever, but smack that like button so I know that you enjoyed the information. And let me know in the comment section below, are you pulling up on these units? And if you are, let me know which units you guys want and why. Alright? Perfect. Cool. Alright. This is Vortie. I will see you in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace!